interests in mining in Chiadzwa. We also want to talk to you about your own mine, Kusena, as police, which was given to you, the operations of it. Would also want to know more about that. I will ask you to take oath now, and then we'll go into the business of the day. Starting with the Commissioner General and all those who will be participating during this session. Thank you.
You're welcome. I, Thandavantu Matanga, the Commissioner General of Police, I swear that the evidence that I will give is the truth, nothing else but the truth, so help me God.
I, Senior Assistant Commissioner Bernard Dumbura, swear that the evidence that I will give is the truth, nothing else but the truth, so help me God.
I, Assistant Commissioner Henry Lagama, do swear that the evidence that I will give is the truth, nothing else but the truth. So help me God.
I, Minister Chombo, swear that the evidence that I will give is the truth, nothing else but the truth, so help me God.
Commissioner General, it's now your turn to respond to the issues that are raised, the role of the Zimbabwe Republic Police in the deployment of police in Chiadzwa, and equally the mining concession, Kusena, that you had the operations as well. We want to also hear that from you. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. With your indulgence, when I got the invitation from yourselves, I prepared a report which I will go through, and thereafter I can respond to individual questions.
Yes, you may proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Chairperson and Honorable members of the Portfolio Committee on Mines and Energy, I wish to start by thanking you for the invitation extended to the Zimbabwe Republic Police to appear before this august committee to deliberate on the role of the Zimbabwe Republic Police and in particular deployment of police officers at Chiadzwa, Diamond Fields and other deployment in mining areas. Honorable Chairperson, allow me to preface my contribution by pointing out that the Zimbabwe Republic Police derives its purpose of existence from Section 219 of the Constitution of Zimbabwe, which states that there is a police force which is responsible for A, detecting, investigating, and preventing crime, B, preserving the internal security of Zimbabwe, C, protecting and securing the lives and property of the people, D, maintaining law and order, and E, upholding the Constitution and enforcing the law without fear or favor. As can be observed, the mandate of the police service is to maintain law and order in the country. It therefore allows that any situation which poses a threat to law and order in the country demands that the Zimbabwe Republic Police discharges its constitutional mandate. Honorable Chairperson, let me turn to the role of the ZRP at Chiadzwa Diamond Field. In mid-2006, there was widespread information that diamond deposits had been discovered in Marange. During that time, people estimated at about 15,000 from across Zimbabwe and neighboring countries such as Mozambique invaded Chiadzwa area in search of the precious mineral. The ensuing situation culminated in an unprecedented influx of illegal partners and diamond dealers from far and wide. As with any discovery, such as that of the precious gems, general crimes as well as violent crimes which include murder, robbery, rape significantly increased. There is little doubt that due to lack of water and sanitation facilities, a number of diseases were witnessed. Of equal concern also was the magnitude of environmental degradation caused by the illegal partners in search of diamonds. Authorization of the deployment. Following a public outcry on activities in Chiadzwa, the local Chief Marangi, his headman, the then governor, Comrade Chris Mshowe, and Manicaland provincial leadership met with a view to end this rot. The police was engaged and the resolution came out to primarily establish an 8-member police base. Consequently, in September 2006, Tondorai Police Base was established and its main objective was to fight crime and also monitor activities of the sprouting illegal diamond partners. Objectives of the deployment. The police made deployments at the Chiadzwa diamond fields in order to execute the following duties among others: prevention and investigation of cases of assaults, rape, murder, and robberies which had escalated. Arrests all illegal diamond partners and sent to justice. Monitor movements of diamond dealers within Chiadzwa diamond fields. Guarding against wanton environmental degradation. Increased ZRP deployments in Chiadzwa. The few police officers deployed at Tondorai base were quickly overwhelmed by the surge of criminal activities as the fast swelling numbers of illegal diamond partners began engaging in violent crimes using an assortment of dangerous weapons. In December 2006, government took over control of diamond extraction in Chiadzwa. The Zimbabwe Mining Development Corporation, ZMDC, was therefore mandated to extract the precious mineral on behalf of government. Resultantly, the Zimbabwe Republic Police also increased police personnel to protect the area and curb criminal activities in the area. The ZRP set up bases around the diamond fields and conducted patrols to rid the fields of illegal partners. Among the police units deployed to flush out illegal diamond partners and dealers, magwejas, from Chiadzwa diamond fields in an operation codenamed Chikorokoza Chapera, Chekecha Sespelile, were support unit, duty informed branch, mounted unit, canine, and criminal investigations department. Given the security implications underpinning the discovery of diamonds in Chiadzwa and the continued influx of wedges, despite intensive police efforts, personnel from other security forces were deployed under the operation codenamed Operation Akuzokwe. The intensification of security operations saw illegal diamond dealers leaving the diamond fields. After the operation, the Zimbabwe Public Police remained protecting the Chiadzwa diamond field. Current position. Currently, the Zimbabwe Republic Police has 105 members conducting inside cordon, while another 100 members, to make them 205 in all, members are carrying out outside cordon. Basically, their duties include provision of perimeter patrols, carrying out stop and searches, prevention of general crime, curbing inside theft by employees of the mining companies. Operations of the ZRP in other mining locations. The ZRP, in light of this mandate of maintaining law and order, established a gold squad in 2006 under the Criminal Investigations Department, CID, in order to deal with the crimes related to gold and other special minerals. Following the promulgation of Statutory Instrument 82 of 2008, the squad was renamed Minerals Unit. It comprised of police officers as well as officials from the Ministry of Mines and Mining Development and the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe. Its functions were defined to include provision of assistance to miners in preventing theft of minerals from mining locations, prevention of the smuggling of minerals, and safeguarding the mineral resources of Zimbabwe for the benefit of the public. However, officers from the other two departments are no longer permanently attached to the unit but are seconded as and when operational requirements dictate so. In 2008, a border control unit was also created to deal with cross-border crimes. Later in 2013, the Minerals Unit and the Border Control Unit were merged to form one unit, namely Minerals and Border Control Unit, MBCU. In addition to the functions stated above, the role of the unit now includes detection, investigation, prevention, and curbing of vandalism of public utilities and the illicit trade of flora and fauna and smuggling in general. Mineral leakages. In an endeavor to plug mineral leakages, the ZRP through the MBCU conducts the following activities, among others: carrying out deployments at mines to check for compliance with the provisions of the Mines and Minerals Act, Chapter 21.05, the Gold Trade Act, Chapter 21.03, the Precious Stones Act, Chapter 21.06, and other subsidiary legislation. In some instances, deployments are made at disputed areas to prevent illegal mining activities pending resolution of the disputes. Deployments at custom milling plants to check on the accountability of gold realized and its disposal thereof. Deployments at elution plants to monitor the elution process and escort gold realized to fidelity printers and refiners. Monitoring of elution plants also include locking of boilers by the police and agents from fidelity printers and refiners. Deployment at diamond sorting houses to prevent theft of diamonds by sorters. Monitoring of movement of gold carbons and gold ore to prevent theft. Monitoring of gold buying agents so that they account for the gold which they purchase from miners for onward disposal to fidelity printers and refiners so that they do not channel gold purchased to the parallel market. Conducting surveillance activities in order to gather intelligence on criminal activities with a view to effect arrests and initiate prosecution. Escorting of diamonds from Chiadzwa and Murua mining locations to Minerals Marketing Corporation of Zimbabwe, MMCZ. Challenges. In carrying out its day-to-day operations, the Minerals and Border Control Unit has faced a number of challenges which include the following, among others: porous border lines which makes smuggling of precious minerals to other countries easier, difficulties in monitoring private airstrips which can be used for smuggling purposes, shortage of non-intrusive search gadgets and modern scanners, difficulty in monitoring illegal panels leading to leakages, disruption of operations at mining claims by illegal gold panels, Mining disputes sometimes take long to be finalized, leading to violent clashes which lead to unfortunate loss of lives. Sprouting of hammer mills resulting in gold leakages. Fidelity printers and refiners are located mainly in major towns and resort to the use of agents, some of whom channel gold purchased to the black market. Recommendations. In light of the above-mentioned challenges, it is recommended that budgetary support be provided in acquisition of resources such as drones, motor vehicles, scanners, and other modern surveillance equipment. Fidelity printers and refiners should put in place gold buying teams to guard against use of agents that have proved to be dishonest in gold remittances. Ministry of Mines and Mining Development and the courts should swiftly intervene and make decisions on mining disputes. In conclusion, Comrade Chair, whilst the Zimbabwe Republic Police has taken proactive steps in curbing illicit trade of minerals, more can be achieved if the Zimbabwe Republic Police is fully capacitated with the sufficient resources to discharge this important function. Furthermore, I wish to appeal to you as our honorable members of parliament to put in place laws that regularize the operations of artisanal miners. The process of regularization of artisanal miners will also assist in the monitoring of their activities. The Zimbabwe Republic Police remains committed in its unwavering determination to turn the tide of illegal mining activities and, more importantly, to play a significant role so that government realizes the much-needed revenue from its mineral resources. Mr. Chair, I thank you, Honorable Chair, and your committee.
I see that you didn't tell us about your mine that was given to you, unless the ZRP were never empowered through a mine called Kusena. Are you aware of a diamond mine?
Honorable Chair, in as far as I am concerned, I read about Ganyame in the newspapers, but for me to give information about Ganyame, I don't have. Maybe if my former boss was here, he could have shed some light on that, but myself, I don't have that information. I thank you.
Commissioner General, the police is an institution which keeps records. It's not a personal or individual institution. And we believe that there should be files which clearly talk about this mine, unless he is the only person in the institution who knew about it. Unless you're saying it was a personal concession and not a ZRP concession. If it was a ZRP concession, then there must be a response to that.
Honorable Chair, unfortunately, the Ganyame issue was not in the invitation letter. But having said that, I want to assure the House that now that the information of Ganyame is required, I can go back and make the necessary preparations for me to bring forward the information to the House, maybe within the next 7 days. I thank you, Chair.
You are aware that we receive oral evidence from ministers who are responsible for giving concessions. And it was actually disturbing that you did not know of such a mine, and we're wondering, was it then in the individual name of the former Commissioner General? When you are before us, as long as the person is within the confines of mining diamonds that we're talking about, we can ask that. And I'm sure you're aware of the speculation which the country has in the security forces having been given mining concessions. And despite them being security forces, they are accountable to the production of diamonds. It's all good for us to hear reports on the deployment, on you maintaining law and order. But it's also good for us to hear from you, to account to this committee, how you mine the diamonds. Where did they go to? That's really where the issue is. And 7 days is something that will have to, the committee will have to understand whether that's possible, because that's really the biggest issue. In terms of your operations, no one argues that. But that is critical in knowing that the resources that you say you did not have were supposed to be generated from that concession. And would want to know how many carrots were mined, who were you marketing through. These are some of the issues. I think we'll go to that later. Our questions will be asked. I think it's proper that Dr. Chombo as well, Minister Chombo, also responds to the issue of the role of the police officers in the deployment of Chiadzwa during your tenure as the Minister of Home Affairs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. First and foremost, to thank you for inviting me to come and share with you issues concerning the Chiadzwa mining and the role of the police in Manicaland. I also wish to thank the other honorable members of the committee for coming, and especially on a Friday afternoon when the majority of the people are heading home to their rural homes, or I have already started on the weekends. Mr. Chairman, I really wish to commend the committee for really putting in time, especially on Fridays. Mr. Chairman, the role of the Minister of Home Affairs is clearly stated that the Minister's job is to give the Commissioner General of Police general written directions, but these directions should not be inconsistent with the directions given by the President under subsection 1 as he considered necessary in terms of public interest, but especially in the areas of appointment, promotion, training, and the disposition of members of the police force, and also the maintenance of the police force in a high state of efficiency. So generally, that is the role of the Minister of Home Affairs. The Commissioner General of Police, according to the Police Act, is the one that is responsible for the deployment, supervision of the police that have been deployed anywhere, not necessarily in Chiadzwa, but anywhere else. This is contained in Police Act Chapter 11, subsection 8, and also our Constitution, Section 221, clearly states that the Commissioner of Police has the role and the sole mandate to superintend over the affairs, deployment of the police officers. As Minister, I was really restricted to policy issues, e.g. the reduction of roadblocks. When there was an outcry that there were too many roadblocks, I then did consult with the Cabinet and the President, and I wrote a directive to the police to reduce roadblocks. But how they do it becomes their own business. So, Mr. Chairman, really my role was very little other than to convey to the police commissioner, who is the superintendent of the ZRP in terms of deployment, recruitment, and so on, to Chiadzwa, not necessarily Chiadzwa, but any other part of the country where policing was required. Periodically, I would get reports for onward submission to cabinet, etc. So, Mr. Chairman, that is really all that I can say. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chombo. Are you aware of the diamond mine that the police, as Minister responsible for the police, are you aware of the diamond mine that the police have?
No, Mr. Chairman, I'm not aware.
Are you aware of the deployment of police officers in the Ministry of Mines to remove the mining directors, and also the deployment of police in Chiadzwa, when it was now regularized, when there was law, when there was order?
I am aware that the Minister of Mines requested assistance from ZRP in order to create law and order in Chiadzwa. I think when ZM, the Consolidated Mine Company, was created. But as to the details, I think the police commissioner did a splendid job to articulate what really transpired.
The issue that you have is if members could come in, which is you talk about law and order. You are not worried about your constitutional mandate of ensuring law and order. We are worried about the deployment of police when you've been there, when there's now law and order, where they've got private companies that have license by the minister to operate. So where is there unlawfulness for you to right to go to a private entity which the very same government that you work with has then given the right for somebody to be mine? It's not a secret that police officers were deployed in Chiadzwa to go and take over mines even owned by the same government, ZMDC, which was a partner. Where was there no law? Where was there a breakdown of rule of law for you to then go and take over those mines? We are saying this because the companies that invested came before us and said quite clearly that despite them having the right paperwork, they followed procedure, but the police were deployed. You talk about even 300 police officers in AK, with AK rifles, 80 with AK rifles. Well, this is what we need to understand. At that point in time, there were also diamonds on site. And we also want to know what the police, what did they do about the diamonds which were inside, that there was no order. Because there were diamonds on site, and this is the oral evidence that we got. What happened to those diamonds too? So in getting you to understand, you coming in when there was disorder, that's in order. But you coming in when there's order, don't you also operate with court orders? Is the police above the law? So can we then respond to the deployment of police officers? Dr. Chombo says, and the Constitution is very clear, that Commissioner General is responsible for those deployments. And he had been consulted by then the Minister of Mines, and then the order came from the Commissioner General. Can we talk about that?
Thank you, Honorable Chair, for the information of the committee. For the past 14 years, up to the 19th of December 2017, when I was appointed Acting Commissioner General of Police, I have been doing administration. And for the information of the House, which of course you are aware of, we were 4 Deputy Commissioner Generals in the ZRP, and myself, I was in administration. So when it comes to operations, it was different Deputy Commissioner General carrying out those duties. But the information I have for sure is that we were on the ground with other forces, and the other duty we were carrying out is to escort diamonds from the mining locations to their sorting houses. Unfortunately, for now, I can't tell you where these sorting houses are because I have not been there. Maybe my colleagues who were in operations could give more information on that. But nevertheless, like I've indicated, Comrade Chair, I'm prepared to go back and go into the files and find out what has been happening. And again, to put more emphasis on the existence of this Ganyame company, I don't have any tangible information about that company. I read about it in the newspapers, and that's the only information I can give the committee for now. I thank you.
Commissioner General, the Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner in charge of operations is under, is he not?
Under the new dispensation, yes, he is under me.
So why did you not bring him so that he could respond to these operational issues, knowing very well that you were not, you were a Deputy Commissioner General at the time, but running administration now with the new dispensation? Would it not have been in order for you to come with your Deputy Commissioners here who are responsible for a number of issues, including crime, especially with the invitation that we extended to you?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. It was only about 2 days ago when I discovered this anomaly. I have appeared before some committees in this same house, and I realized that in the majority of cases, our team was being led by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Home Affairs. And I did indicate to the Clerk of Parliament about yesterday morning, and he assisted that by inviting the Permanent Secretary. Unfortunately, he then advised me that he could not be with us because he's committed elsewhere. But I'm aware I was supposed to have come with the guy who was in charge of operations, but he is with the Permanent Secretary right now in another meeting. So on that note again, I'll go back to him, get the necessary information, and definitely bring that information before the committee within the next 7 days. I thank you, Honorable Chair.
So you owe us information on the mine. You owe us the Commissioner, Deputy Commissioner operations to be here to respond. And equally any other players, even the board or the police officers who were sitting on the board for the mine, if you do come across such information that there was a board which was put in place and running this mine. I know that former Senior Assistant Commissioner, Commissioner Ndebele, was part of that board. And it is important that I think you bring all the necessary people, the necessary information, so that we don't go back and forth. This is taxpayers' money, and the thing nation is awaiting to hear exactly and bring to closure this issue on diamonds. Members, I will ask you to ask questions that you feel are quite pertinent. And Dr. Chombo, my question to you is that in speaking to the Minister of Mines to assist you to get the police involved, was there any written communication?
I do think so, and I think the current minister, who is the custodian of the files, together with the Permanent Secretary, may best be able to give a narrative of the communication that could have been entered between the Minister of Mines, Home Affairs, and also ZRP.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I have got 2 questions, one to Dr. Chombo, one to our Commissioner General. Dr. Chombo, when mines were consolidated in Chiadzwa, it was like a mafia style. Some of the directors of the mines which were operating then were here in Harare for a briefing, and they were phoned to say their mines are already surrounded by the police. And they were ordered to pack and go, and they left everything. There was no handover and takeover. You know very well, in such a situation, anything can happen. Yes, you said the deployment is done by the Commissioner General. But after you heard that as the minister then, what corrective measures did you take? Because now there is an issue of missing 15 billion, which was confirmed by the then former president. How do we account in such circumstances? My second question to you, Commissioner General. You said your other role was to make sure that companies who were mining in Chiadzwa were complying, meaning complying to the laws of the country. How did we lose 15 million? Sorry, 15 billion. If companies were, because this is a huge amount of money. If you are saying you were monitoring to make sure they were complying, what do you mean when the country has lost so much money? Thank you.
Dr. Chombo, you may respond.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We talked about the mafia-style activities when the issue of consolidation was announced. I really don't know what happened when the consolidation was announced, or when it was announced. The police were simply asked to go and assist, and I think the Police Commissioner General Commissioner Matanga has really clearly articulated. When you say, what did I do when I had what? So that I can clear.
I think, Dr. Chombo, the point that the honorable member is bringing across is in line with the Constitution, in that the minister will equally consult. So unless you're saying whatever happened, you're not consulted. You are the Minister of Home Affairs, the Commissioner General did not consult you on it, and equally as the responsible minister, there's the aspect in the Constitution which says protecting and securing the lives and property of people. There was equipment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As to equipment, as to what diamonds they were there, as to the handover, it really was not the function of the Minister of Home Affairs, maybe ZRP, but really I thought that was an issue between the Minister of Mines and the relevant players, because this was a Minister of Mines issue. And I really, for my part, I really don't know what else I can tell you.
The issue, the police went in illegally, heavy-handed, and we are not exhausting this because I think there are many missing players, and we shall soon come up with a conclusion as a committee that you come together, because there's a tendency of passing the blame to another. Did the police have the right to move in when there were companies already there who were constitutionally set up? Some of them were government companies. Some of the concessions are even yours. You know, the diamond mine that we talk about is yours. Was there also disorder there? I'd be surprised to hear that a police concession, there was also disorder. We've got to be honest and clear in terms of the deployment of the police. While it is constitutional, was the deployment of 300 police officers with AKs, 80 as well with the Russian mine, GTZ or Jejo, who came here and gave this oral evidence before us. Yet their paperwork was in order. Next time you're coming, we'll show you the paperwork that they were legally there. So where did you get the power to move in on a legal entity? Because you work with court orders, and here is a Russian mine which came before us. Their paperwork was in order. We saw the paperwork, and yet you also moved in with 80 police officers holding AKs. The point, Dr. Chombo, is that anybody would fear for their lives. As a result, they succumb to the police, and this is a mafia approach by the police, which they are supposed to be protecting. Was the police no longer a mafia operation? So these are some of the issues which we must clear. While Dr. Chombo says, yes, it was an issue of mines. So can the police just be sent by another minister to go and take over something without due process? And if there's communication, we must see the communication. We're having a situation where there's a blame game. Some even blame the former president for saying he was responsible for this. But in terms of a discharge of duty from a constitutional point of view, did you meet your side of the bargain? And this is what we are about. And communication seems not to be there. We spoke to the Minister of Mines. So to me, this is really, in summary, what we're trying to get, so that the aspect of oversight is there. Companies coming to this country feel protected. The police are equally under the law. And that's why investment is not coming into the country, because the government, through the police, cannot willy-nilly wake up and say, we're going to take over. Rule of law.
Mr. Chairman, I really think your efforts are commendable. But I think you are referring the questions to the wrong parties. If all the other parties were there to answer for themselves, then I mean, we would have a complete picture. But here you are talking to just a small segment of the parties that are involved. I think your idea that each and every party must be represented is noble, and I think it will get you the answers that this committee is looking for.
Thank you, Chairman. I think.
Sorry, Dr. Chombo, just switch off the mic. Sorry. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chairman. I think there are too many missing bits and pieces in this puzzle. I don't think we'll go anywhere if we want to have the CG and former Minister of Home Affairs, just the two of them here, to try and answer all the questions. May I humbly suggest to propose that we call everybody in, those who can answer, especially on the mining side of things, on the Kusena mine, and all the people who were involved during that time to be present, and if possible, the former Commissioner General to be present as well, all parties, so that we have one house with everybody present. Then you don't go back and forth. That's my proposal, Chairman.
I have questions arising from the Commissioner's presentation.
Okay, I've taken note of that, and we shall deliberate. We might have to just adjourn for a few minutes, and you excuse us at an appropriate time, and then we'll talk about that, and we'll recall you back. But for now, if you could just respond to a few questions. Honorable Chiadzwa's question has not been responded to by the Commissioner General. What was the question, Honorable Chiadzwa, so that the Commissioner General?
Thank you,
There have been so many years.
Yes.
Refresh his memory.
Yes, I reminded him that in his presentation he talked of the police getting in to see that the companies who are mining are complying. Then I posed the question to say whether these companies comply. If they were complying, how is it that we lost the 15 billion? Or did they ever make an arrest there to say this company was not doing well, this company was doing what? Because nothing came from the police, but definitely the country has lost money.
Commissioner General.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. It is very clear, right from start up to this hour, that the police do not have the mandate even to touch the diamonds. Their only role is to escort what they call parcels. These parcels, they mean diamonds. And these diamonds are escorted from the mining locations to the sorting houses. And in the majority of cases, I'm told they were being transported by air. They would fly from Chiadzwa to the Harare International Airport, and that will be the role of the police. In the sorting houses, our officers are never there. they only provide security outside the sorting houses. So maybe this same question can be properly answered by the owners of the sorting houses. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Honorable Demir, Honorable Sarwak.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. I just have quick questions arising from the Commissioner's presentation. If I got him well, the Commissioner at the time was responsible for administration. And in my view, administration by definition would entail taking care of whoever was deployed at Chiadzwa in terms of their TNS. I really didn't get him when it came to his submission on the question of the mine, whether they owned the mine or they did not. But the question on TNS arises from that fact. Did you pay TNS for whoever was deployed at the mine from the proceeds of your mine, or the state paid these allowances? And then you also mentioned MBCU, Border Control Unit, which I think has always been of interest to this committee, because in one of the papers in our custody, MMCZ claims to have given you some money to train that border control unit. And by your style and culture, you are known for these elaborate graduation ceremonies after every training session. I just want to know if it's true at all that you had money donated by MMCZ that went towards the training of such cadres. How many were trained at the time? When was their graduation ceremony held? I really wanted to tease out a lot of things relating to your mine, but unfortunately I did not hear you clearly when it came to whether you knew anything about the mine or not, because some of the questions have to do with the appropriation of the proceeds from this said mine. Were these sent to the consolidated fund or any force fund under your administration if you were in administration? And it would have done this committee a lot of good if you could avail a paper trail to that effect. But I also am trying, between you and the minister, to ascertain at whose behest was this military style deployment of officers done, and is there a paper trail to that effect? Because you don't just deploy them without any form of paperwork attaching to that deployment. We are interested in that, Honorable Chairman, because the Russians were here before this committee looking all pink and shocked that Russian manufactured arms of war were used against them. I thank you, Honorable Chair.
Okay, let the Commissioner General respond quickly, and then, unless Honorable Taban, let's just get to him as well. Okay, go ahead. Oh, sorry, Honorable Taban. Let me go to Honorable Sarwaka. Commissioner, if the questions are too much, let me know, but I'm just going to get one from Honorable Sarwaka and then Honorable Matamba.
Thank you, Chair. Unfortunately, I had three small questions. The first one was, I wanted to understand from the Commissioner General, who was in administration then, whether as police they were concerned with the lifestyle changes of those officers who were deployed in Chiadzwa. Just like those who were on the traffic section, it was apparent that something unusual was happening to their pockets. Were you, as a police force, concerned that the officers deployed in Marange suddenly became rich? That's my first question, unless you did notice that. Then my second question was, I think for the community in Manicaland.
Sorry, Commissioner, on the first one, basically, do you do a lifestyle audit of your police officers from time to time? I think that's his first question.
Yeah. Then the second one, I was saying the community in Manicaland bears scars of police brutality as a result of the operations carried out by the police and their maintenance of law and order in the diamond fields. So I wanted to know, especially from the operation at Kudzokwi, whether the Commissioner General has any statistics of the fatalities of people who lost their lives as a result of the operation at Kudzokwi. Did it then achieve the intended goal of stopping illegal mining in Chiadzwa? But I just want the figures to know how many of our citizens passed on as a result of the high heavy-handedness of the police.
The next
the last one, I wanted to understand from the Commissioner General in his presentation about their mandate and role in these mining operations. He referred to some role in protecting the environment, making sure that there is no environmental degradation. But if you go anywhere right around the country where there are artisanal mining, I think there is ample evidence of the destruction of the environment. And I was just wondering what he really meant when he said the police is concerned. There is no evidence that there is a police force which is probably concerned about environmental degradation. So I just want to understand the connection between the presence of police officers in these operations and their concern with the environment, whether they do anything about the environment.
The aspect of Operation Kudzokwi, was it brutal force? And then the aspect of environment degradation, does the police also run the affairs of EMA? We thought EMA is an agency that looks into that. So from a constitutional point of view, is the police also mandated to also protect and to talk about environmental degradation and go and arrest people without EMA being there? Yet EMA has also some powers within themselves to also penalize people who cause harm to the environment. I think that's more or less what is alluded to. Honorable Matamba.
Ndotenda chairman nguya mandipa ndichikumbira kubvunza kunakuru vedu vari pano commissioner kuti ndezvo ndanzwa kuti ndezvo makaenda zvisina permission kumadhaima kwaChiadzwa kuenda kwamakaita kusina permission ndofunga kuti zvingaitika muri vanhu vakuru hamungaendi musina permission, asi tinoziva kuti kwaChiadzwa kwakadiscover diamond nevana vakadiscover vega vanonzi makorokoza whatever vadiscover vakaita noises dzakadzinzwa pakazari take over makambani akunzi auye mainvestors. Makaenda here kone nyaya yekuti maamuchingodzivirira sekudzivirira kwamakaita pakutanga pakunetsana kwamakorokoza mukaramba muripo mukakonya neoperation yekuti maakuchengetedza mainvestors. Was it that the mission yekuti murambe muriko chete here kuti maama kuchengetedza upenyu hwemainvesta kuti vasafiringwa nevana vanga vanzwa kutapirirwa nediamond iyi ravaimaina pasina zvisiri pamutemo. Ndokuzouya ndanzwa zvakare handika kuti mabvunzo pano toda kunzwisisa kuti ndezvo ZRP yanga ine maini here. Tiri kuona kuti panenge pane problem yekuti hamusi kuziva mose pamauya ipo kuti yakanga kuine maini here. Ko iyi maini kana iripo, is it since vamwe vachiti yanga iripo sevamwe vakauya vachiti kwanga iripo, mungafungira kuti maini iyi yanga iri for secret here, iri pakuda kubatsira ZRP because munoziva kuti makambotambura nyaya dzemari nenyaya yekuti mukwanise kuwana zvokushandisa kupolisi. Yakaitwa here saizvozvozvo, inogona yakapinda saizvozvo, yakaitwa secret kuti ndezvo ibetsere ZRP department. Ndachimbira kuti mutiudze kuti zvogona zvakadaro, that's why musingazivi here. Ndokuzouya last 15 billion taona nenyaya yesecurity nekuverenga kwamaita paya muchitaura kuti basa renyu rakamira sei. Pa 15 billion ndinoda kubvunza kuti toona kuti munokwana here pakudzisapia kwemari iri kunzi haisi kuonekwa pairi 15 billion yemadiamonds. Ndakaona for example kugold nezuro kune vana venyu ndakaona kufidelity pandaideposito nokuti ndito zvemining zvegold noti diamond. Ndakaona vakabata futi vakatenderedza mota vakasvika vakangoburuka vakateedza mota ikadzikisa. Ndakaona muchibuda mabags manhingiro masteel box akasimba zvekuti asani malocks pane tutambo tunga turipo tunofanira tine maseal numbers. Imiwo munoisawo key yenyu here ipapo kuti muzobvunzwa kunzi kana gold rimo radisappear muonekwe muchinzi munofanira kuansa, kana kuti hapana imichinji kungochengetedza kuti ritransport risvika pa-A roenda pa-B mapedza modzokera, kana kuti muisewo katambo kuti riserial number dzamunorekodi kuti munzwa kuti paso yasvika here kana kwairi kuenda, kana kuti michenyu kuprovida security vasaijeko munzira vasati vasvika panofanira kuenda kana kundegana maita basa.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. And I'm going to say this for the third time now. I was appointed into the office of Commissioner General on the 19th of December 2017, and I was confirmed on the 12th of February 2018. And for me to give appropriate answers to the questions raised by honorable members here, I'm asking the Honorable Chair to give me time to go back to the organization, go into the files, and come back with correct answers. I am not in a position to manufacture answers here because at the end I'll be seen on the wrong side of the law. Thank you, Chair.
I think the Commissioner General has put a question before us. That is why I felt to talk about it, unless it's a question which is not in line with his request. Yeah. Because quite clearly he's handicapped, and we need to caucus, ask them to come back quickly and tell them what we require. I think he has the powers to also command many people to also come with him when we decide when they should come back. Honorable, can you go ahead?
Thank you, Chair. My question is quite simple towards the Commissioner General, although I should congratulate you on your appointment. But what I want to find out, you have your two assistants, one on operations and one on minerals control unit. Can you elaborate a little bit more so the parliamentarians would understand how accountable on issues in terms of operations? Say, for instance, how does the border control unit operate in terms of protecting the natural resources in this country? In terms of, it looked like most of the work, as you elaborated, belongs to the Ministry of Mines, mines inspectors and stuff like that. But what I wanted to find out from you is that how are they accountable in terms anything that goes wrong. You look at the hoist that happened at How Mine some years, many years ago. I think that time there was a minerals control unit. And because there was a minerals control unit, that gold disappeared. Were any culprits brought to book for that gold that disappeared at our mine? And I believe all the guards were shot, everything was, I think that's what happened. I just want to find out more, if you can elaborate on the minerals control, border control. Do you have a sort of a board that controls that unit or not? Thank you.
I'm sure on that one, Commissioner General, you can respond to that. Yes, Honorable
Chair. The Commissioner General's request to bring information in the future, does it mean he cannot respond to my question on the training of the same border control unit that he spoke so glowingly about? Just their training.
We can respond
to that one.
Border minerals and on the money given to the border minerals control unit
by MMCZ.
To trade, and he says that in the old dispensation in the ZRP, we're renowned for nice graduation ceremonies. How come we did not see one which was which we given money to train?